Do we have free will? A look at determinism versus choice. You have probably made a decision, maybe what to eat for lunch or whether to text someone, and then wondered, did I actually choose that? Or was it just the next domino in a chain of events that started long before I was born? This is one of the philosophy's oldest, deepest questions. Do we have free will? Or are we just playing out a script written by biology, history, and physics? Today, we will explore determinism, free will, and a possible middle ground known as compatibilism. So, let's dive in it.
What is free will? Let's start simple. What do we actually mean by free will? Generally, it's the idea that we are the authors of our own actions. That when you choose between A or B, it's really you choosing, not something choosing through you. This matters more than it might seem. Our entire sense of morality, justice, and personal identity is built on this assumption that we could have done otherwise. Think about legal systems. If someone commits a crime, we hold them responsible because we assume they could have chosen not to. But what if that's just an illusion? The determinist view. Now, let's look at determinism, the view that everything that happens is the result of what come before, governed by the laws of nature. In other words, everything you do was always going to happen because it was caused by prior events, from the Big Bang to your birth to this exact moment, all connected in a causal chain. Philosopher Baruch Spinoza believed that free will was an illusion. He said we are like a stone that has been thrown, and while the stone may think it's flying of its own accord, it's really following a path set in a motion by forces outside itself. Even in science, this idea shows up. Laplace, an 18th century mathematician, imagined a super intelligent being, now called Laplace demon, who, if it knew the position of every atom in the universe, would predict the future perfectly. And today, some neuroscientists argue that your brain makes decisions before you are consciously aware of them. Benjamin Libert's experiment in the 1980s shows that brain activity predicting a decision happens milliseconds before people report deciding it. So, if your brain decides before you do, are you in control? The case for free will. But not everyone buy this. Some argue that free will does exist, just not in the simplistic magical sense. Immanuel Kant believed freedom was essential for morality. If we are not free to choose, how can we be held responsible for anything? He saw free will not as randomness, but as the capacity to act according to reason, to rise above impulse and make moral choices. Then there's Jean-Paul Sartre, the essentialist who took it further. For Sartre, we are radically free. So free, in fact, that it can be terrifying. He called it condemned to be free because we can never escape responsibility for our choices even when we try to. He would say, even choosing not to choose is a choice. I repeat, even choosing not to choose is a choice. And let's be honest, life often feels like we are making real decisions. When you sit with a tough choice, weigh the pros and cons, and make a deliberate move, isn't that agency? Compatibilism. Compatibilism. The middle ground. So, is there a middle ground? Something between? Every choice is free and everything is predetermined. Yes, it's called compatibilism. David Hume and later Daniel Dennett argued that free will and determinism can both be true. If we define freedom differently, compatibilists say you are free as long as your actions flow from your internal states, your desire, reasoning, and personality, not from external coercion. So even if your brain is shaped by prior causes, as long as you act according to your own will, that's freedom enough. Imagine you are thirsty. You choose to drink water. Sure, biology played a role, but no one forced you. You were not hypnotized. You act freely even in a determined world. It's not absolute freedom, but it's real enough for moral responsibility to make sense. Neuroscience and modern takes. Back to those experiments. Do they destroy free will? Not necessarily. While debate studies show that the brain initiates decisions before we are conscious of them, latest studies suggest that we can veto those impulses. This is called free wouldn't. The power to stop ourselves even if we can't fully control the impulse itself. And some neuroscientists argue that the consciousness might still shape long term goals even if moment to moment decisions are automatic. Think of it like this: you don't consciously choose every keystroke when you type, but you did decide to write the essay. So maybe free will is less about split second decision and more about shaping the overall action of your life. So, do we have free will? Well, that depends on what you mean by free. If you mean total independence from cause and effect, maybe not. If you mean the capacity to reflect, to choose based on values, to change course, then maybe yes. Maybe free will is not about escaping the chain of events. Maybe it's about becoming an active link in that chain. So, what do you think? Are we puppets of physics? Or are we writing our own story moment by moment? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into free will, give the video a like, channel a subscribe for more philosophical exploration. Until next time, keep questioning. Thank you.